The Saudi bin Laden group spent decades building the kingdom's modern identity, from desert highways to the palaces of the elite. One of the sons in this dynasty would leave this world of luxury behind for a very different kind of project. Osama bin Laden grew up with immense privilege. As the son of a billionaire construction magnate, he lived a life intertwined with the Saudi royal family, inheriting a personal fortune estimated at up to $300 million. When the Soviet Union invaded Afghanistan in 1979, bin Laden arrived with his family's checkbook. He focused on logistics, co-founding an office to fund and arm the growing wave of Arab volunteers fighting the Soviet occupation. His actual combat record was mostly smoke and mirrors. Bin Laden fought in a few minor skirmishes, yet he carefully exaggerated these exploits to project an aura of divine military prowess. He used his family fortune to manufacture the illusion of a holy warrior. But more importantly, he absorbed a calculated lesson from the conflict. A vastly superior military could be bled dry in a protracted, unwinnable guerrilla war. In 1990, as Saddam Hussein threatened the region, bin Laden offered his seasoned fighters to protect Saudi Arabia. The royal family rejected him, opting instead to deploy U.S. troops. The arrival of American forces near the birthplace of Islam enraged him. He loudly opposed the Saudi monarchy, leading to the revocation of his citizenship and forcing him into exile. In exile, he aligned with Egyptian extremists like Ayman al-Zawahiri. These associates provided the operational brainpower to transition his loosely organized followers into a formalized multinational network known as al-Qaeda, or the Base. This map illustrates his expanding ambitions. In 1996 and 1998, he issued declarations of war against the United States. His demands were explicit: complete withdrawal of Western military forces from Islamic lands, and an immediate halt to foreign aid reaching Israel. With these demands, he ceased being a regional insurgent. He had appointed himself the leader of an international war against the world's most powerful military force. On the morning of August 7, 1998, explosive-laden trucks detonated almost simultaneously outside the U.S. embassies in Nairobi, Kenya, and Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. The targets were American, but the staggering human toll fell mostly on civilians. More than 220 people died and thousands more were injured, the vast majority of them innocent local citizens. The United States responded swiftly with Operation Infinite Reach, launching cruise missile strikes into Afghanistan and Sudan. This massive retaliation provided exactly the type of direct conflict bin Laden was trying to incite. The attacks of September 11, 2001 were the ultimate devastating escalation of this strategy of provocation. His motive was highly calculated. He intended to force the U.S. military into invading Afghanistan, confident that the famously hostile terrain would swallow the Americans just as it had the Soviets. Thousands of innocent people were murdered to bait a trap. These calculated attacks were precisely designed to mire the United States in a ruinous, unwinnable war of attrition. When the U.S. military arrived in Afghanistan weeks later, it inadvertently stepped into the exact multi-decade conflict bin Laden had envisioned. Yet, as this massive global mobilization began, bin Laden himself lost his wealth, his operational network, and his freedom, forced to live out his days in isolated hiding. Al-Qaeda executed the 9/11 attacks for a minuscule budget, while the resulting wars cost the United States trillions. Overlaying the timelines reveals a chilling parallel. The massive military drain exactly matched the blueprint of attrition he witnessed during the Soviet occupation. His strategy succeeded in trapping a superpower, but it simultaneously erased his own operational control. The architect of the terror network was reduced to a powerless, symbolic ghost. In 2011, nearly a decade later, an intelligence breakthrough finally located his hiding place inside a walled residential compound in Abbottabad, Pakistan. During a covert nighttime raid, U.S. Special Operations Forces breached the compound and killed him, ending the life of the terrorist mastermind. But the response to his provocations had already integrated into daily life. From the normalization of mass surveillance to the trillions spent on military intervention, his strategy of attrition left a measurable mark on the 21st century. It is a stark contrast from where he began. A young heir born into extraordinary wealth threw away a life of luxury to engineer decades of global suffering. He used a family fortune and a manufactured myth to pull a superpower into a conflict that outlived him.